Have you ever played a game where you can take all the anger and elitism from WoW Mythic Plus scene and inject it directly into your veins at a ridiculously rapid pace? Well, boy, I tell you what, I'll pay good money for that shit. Oh, 10% off? Yup. Fellowship is a self-proclaimed MODA, which stands for Multiplayer Online Dungeon Adventure. And no, not Massive Online Derogatory Arena, because guess what? You do eventually get chastised if you fail, the little shit. I'm kidding. The launch of Fellowship has been incredibly interesting because even though they are an exclusive dungeon-only gameplay, they were able to recreate the MMORPG vibes by having crappy servers at the time of launch. You know what's fun? Being an adult who only has an hour break to play video games, only to join a queue simulator. Listen, I give the launch some crap, but actually once you could play it and they fix the servers, the game is actually badass and it's so worth it. Now, during the promos, of course, because I was watching them, you get to see some of the heroes that you can play. You have your standard aggressive brawler lady tank woman, you have a monk who wears no armor at all, but still somehow doesn't die, bowboy, stabby girl, ice chick, hot guy, token, probably a furry, and angry dwarf. Hot damn, they really did create a wonderful scene here, didn't they? After seeing all of them, of course my choice was easy. I was going with the hot boy. Not for the fact that he plays with fire and he likes it toasty, but because he kind of reminds me of like someone who had the Giga Chad filter on. I don't know. That's just what I want. Also, he snaps. So if you guys play Final Fantasy XIV, you know exactly who this reminds you of. His system is basically what you think it is. Lots of damage over time effects that build cinders. The cinders allow you to get blaze charges, and then you use these charges for instant damage based off of your ticking dots at the time. I don't know if this was intentional, but it is hilarious. You can actually use your detonate ability in rapid succession, and you sound like an extra from West Side Story. After beating up all the dummies that I could find, I queue for a quick play dungeon, only to find out that when I join, only myself and an angry dwarf were able to load in. Great, this is my hell. I'm stuck in purgatory with an angry holy healer. So after about 5 minutes of waiting for the queue to actually kick in, I get kicked back off. And then this process repeats back and forth. I know this happens basically with any brand new game. Most of the time when you load into a new game and they have servers and login issues, it's unfortunate. It's kind of an eventuality with most things early access. Even actually on normal access, I just think it's a standard now. Not saying it's right, I just say it exists. I tried to queue again and I got paired with another healer who definitely isn't a furry, and for unforeseen circumstances, I had to leave. Couldn't play that anymore. That was the end of my lunch break, so I did the only sane thing that a grown adult male could do, when that was to cry into my therapy unicorn. If you don't have one, I feel sorry for you, because Charlie is a great listener. I log in later that night after the queues have been fixed, and I get my first dungeon. Angry Dwarf, Tank Woman, and Frosty Lady, and me. Okay, it's actually looking like a pretty good dungeon. Thus far, it's fairly easy, but truth be told, I was just so damn happy to be able to play the game and not be stuck in purgatory hell with the fairy druid. Alone. Like, that's how you die. Folks, I don't know what you want me to say. The dungeon progresses, but I find out very quickly that this place is nothing but frickin' spiders. Like nothing but these anatomically correct creepy crawlers, and guess who has a flamethrower? Not me, because I'm only level 1, and this is my first dungeon ever. I have 0 abilities, I don't have a horse, I can't do anything from them eating my face.
Why do you disappoint me? Second by second, you waste my time.
Truth be told, all I ended up doing was just snapping in their general direction like I'm a Karen trying to get the waiter's attention. I noticed that the healing in this is actually really difficult for most healers. Like we pull this one group and most of our group is very low. We're almost dead, and then I get blasted with a spider sauce nuke and I go down. Jeez, it's probably so easy for healers. Like all you have to do is just heal. All you gotta do is just press the green buttons. Ugh. I say safely from inside my locked cage of DPS. The final boss is literally a massive spider, and then we start seeing some of the cooldown timers. Like this is actually pretty amazing. It's like having DBM, but you can see all the timers. You don't have to download anything else. It's right there. You can see the large AoEs on the ground. It's actually a lot of fun. Then for some effing reason, this 8-legged bitch starts casting Mother's Milk, which I'm sorry, what is Mother's Milk? Why does the spider have milk? Who is milking the spiders? Is this actually a male spider? All of these questions and more will not be answered next time on Massive Online Derogatory Arena. I do some quick play, and it's actually going smoother the more people that we have logged in and joining us. More so when they actually experience these dungeons, because honestly, it really goes a lot better when everyone knows what the hell's going on. So we're in this frozen dungeon that for some reason has like cold elves. I don't know. Dungeons and Dragons really let themselves go of late, haven't they? Jesus, that shot's gonna get me canceled. Oh my god. Anyway, we kill all the Frosty boys and then we get to Apostate Varus, which honestly, I don't mean to brag about my big D energy, but look at the DPS count. I'm the reason that we are here. Also, Token dies here because he stood in the bad. Bosses actually really aren't that bad thus far. And again, I'm only in quick play, so it's probably the lowest setting. And they're pretty straightforward. Just don't stand in bad and dodge that. I also get the horse at this time and a new ability, which I delightfully called visiting my Hispanic friends for dinner, because after you build up enough spirit, you get to literally breathe fire, or simply someone spiked the enchiladas with habaneros. Listen, I know people eat habaneros all the time and they're not actually all that spicy and it's no issue, but I just told you that I have Charlie the Unicorn as my crying pillow, so what the f do you want from me? I finally get some talents to learn, which is actually good because I've been like raw dogging it, as the youngings would say. I choose slow burn, which extends the duration of some of my dots, but then looking at the reward tree progression, and it is crazy. Like legit, there's a whole toolkit that you have to unlock by doing dungeons to earn all of your abilities. And it's like 16 dungeons on each character to earn their baseline talents and skills, which again is pretty awesome. Except for completing this really just only gets you this crappy outfit. Like, come on, I did minimal work, and why am I not being showered with rewards? Stupid Moda. The next dungeon I join, I finally get the tanking monk lady, and I have to say that she absolutely tanks so damn well. Like, she takes no damage, hardly at all. Or it could just be that the angry dwarf is carrying the team. I believe healing is super easy and it can be done by monkeys. This is obviously a joke because I know most healers smoke cigarettes and will let you die just out of spite for your spoiled DPS ass. Well, now I finally have some cooldowns, and again, I'm carrying the DPS. Like Token here, he's doing his best, but you don't mess with Giga Chad Hot Boy. Now comes the final boss of the Empyrean Sands, Sin Magir, and holy crap, let me just say this boss fight was amazing. You're dancing in and out of AoEs, ads that appear need to be killed before they nuke the whole damn arena, while the whole damn time the ground is erupting. Like, I love this. GG, easy clap. After doing the bare minimum, I believe it's time for me to become a contender, which is the lowest level of the ranked dungeons that you can do to start. I find out that you can purchase some gear. You get some item levels, which, you know, of course, gear really doesn't make the player. It's really the gear, actually. Shut up. Well, now it's Silken Hollow again, and it's tier 3 contender. Previously, I had played with tokens who had no idea what they were doing. Not this time. Never have I been so aggressively put in my place on the DPS charts. Easily clearing 10% more than my bitch ass, and then the tank is doing more DPS than me. Hell, the healer is right on my tail. This is a direct affront to my identity. How dare you play a game better than me than I think I should be playing the game, you loser. So I take it personally and start popping cooldowns on every fight because I'm not going to be outpaced by a knockoff Thor. Well, I immediately do because the next pull, my little B self couldn't even out DPS the healer. The angry dwarf did my job better than me. Forgetting the fact that we're all playing against the spiders, I start snapping and burning everything I can, and it's embarrassing. Token deals so much more damage than me, and I can't even complete. Like, what is this shit? Not to mention that the monk is doing comparable DPS and is also responsible for like 40% of the healing, which is insane. After getting trash canned on every open mob fight, we finally get to Mother's Milk again, which I shouldn't need to tell you how gross that is. And Tariq just straight up bullies me on this boss fight. I'm snapping my little heart out and he's easily milking the spider. Good gracious. This was embarrassing. We missed some mobs and we have to go back and get them, but my pride is already hurt. Well, the good news is that I actually get some good gear, a level 30 chest. And okay, maybe being embarrassed is allowing me to be a little bit tougher. So you should always be worried if you are the best DPS in dungeons by a wide margin. Not because you are that much better, it just simply means that nothing will get done if you are not alive. We do Urrak Markets, and we have a fuzzy healer here with us, and we run into the biggest brick wall I've experienced as of yet. The main boss here is a twofold, one caster, one melee combo with well over 1 million health combined. Of course, we make a beeline for the caster because why wouldn't we hit that as the primary target? Well, we get slapped back and forth again and again by these two, and the fuzzy healer struggles to keep us all up. The first vortex ability sucks us down like a double glizzy sundae, and we are left wondering what the just happened. This repeats several times and we find out that we're supposed to go into the thorns to slow down the pull of the vortex, and this ends up being an absolute pain because we're struggling on the healing front. The tank is sitting at 5% most fights and the healer can't hack it. So we take a step back and we go throughout the rest of the dungeon focusing on clearing all the mobs, and then we come back to focus on the boss to get the finish. And what occurs is the next 20 minutes of fighting a boss, learning how to deal with their shit, and we somehow get fairly close. I use my habanero breath and start snapping to kill the caster, and somehow we kill both of them. Good God, this was it. I called it for the night. First night of Fellowship tested my patience. Not with dungeon, but with fuzzy fairies. Listen, I know that everyone's got to learn how to do it. I'm aware of this. This is all for fun and slander. If you really do need to go and vent, download Twitter, say something controversial like, I enjoy pancakes, which will immediately be turned against you because basically you said fuck waffles. I level up a bit more and get some more talents to build out what I think is pretty cool. And what's awesome is that you don't have to select a single talent per tier level. As long as you got the talent points, you can essentially grab whichever ones you want and you're good to go from there. I get some more gear to fit out my Giga Chad, but why the fuck do I keep getting the spider zone? I've done like 15 dungeons and a third of them have been playing with these 8-legged freaks. I realized that most of my DPS actually comes from Searing Blaze, so I started using that a lot more liberally. Spread that shit out like Oprah Winfrey giving free cars away. But what is really nice to know is that even here, the spiders turn out extra crispy. Finally, we start getting timed dungeons as Contender 4, and the first one we get is Sailor's Abyss. And let me just say, this is my favorite zone thus far. Not only are the mobs pretty difficult and beefy to deal with, but now we have a timer set up. We have to progress through this place as fast as possible and beat the timer, which, it just feels so good. So damn good. Anyway, I get an ability that allows me to basically replicate my engulfing flame dots onto all nearby mobs. And it's just so satisfying, man. You have 3 to 5 dots on like 7 targets. Crispy. We clear out the mobs here, no problem. And now the boss. It's literally a siren. Let me just say that she's absolutely a bitch. See, at intervals, she'll go and do this siren song pull, and you have to tie yourself to the mast that's right next to her on the platform. If you do not, the siren will basically pull you to your death. Okay, no problem. We died once. We still got timer on the clock. Let's go. Somehow the healer gets nuked like a corn dog in a microwave, and everyone else dies. We have 1 minute and 20 to kill this boss, who has about 1.2 million HP. Oh boy, this is going to be tight. I'm throwing as many different cooldowns as I can trying to kill her, but much like a guy who did too many shots of whiskey, there's nothing left in the tank. If you understood that one, go ahead and give this video a like, by the way. We failed this much like how Obi-Wan failed Anakin, and then the healer dies. And so does everyone else. Fuck this dungeon. We pull her for the 3rd time, missing the timer for about like 3 minutes, and she dies almost straight up, no problem. Good gracious. I queued up for Contender again, and I got immediately put back into Sailor's Abyss again, but this time we have a frosty lady with us and an angry dwarf in the back, and we are cruising through this. Not only do we perfect the route, but we kill the boss with nearly 3 minutes left on the clock. Also, frosty lady completely blew me out of the water on this boss. Like, I get a ring and I start to feel good, I guess. I group up with this tag team and we are absolutely crushing this first dungeon, and we say, hey, let's keep the group together and try a Contender 7, which if you didn't know is the capstone dungeon that we have to time to advance into the league. Okay, that's awesome. Let's go. Then I realized that this dungeon timer is set to 27 minutes with 3 bosses. Holy hell, what were we planning here? Well, me and this Frost Mage go neck and neck on DPS for most of this, but these mobs are hitting hard and they have huge HP pools. Despite me and Frosty spamming, it was to no avail. Well, we pull a massive group, or what appears to be a massive group, and we get absolutely trash canned by these deceitful scholars. See, they use an ability called Fact Check, and it absolutely wipes us. The Rune of Detonation deals so much damage that it's actually like, you can't miss it. If you miss it, it's basically a wipe. However, they cast so many other times that if you don't time your interrupts, you're gonna miss it. Golly. Well, what's better than one scholar? 2 of these Not only do they spam cast their abilities, they are basically just waiting to hold out for Rune of Detonation. God, these are terrible. Well, we work through another couple of mobs, and then we get to a frickin' boss who not only hits hard, he is basically Yasuo from League of Legends if he chose to use a bow instead of a sword. Nor is throwing traps, launching volleys of arcane damage, not to mentioning summoning allies while spinning and winning. Holy crap, this boss is actually pretty badass. I really like this boss fight. We try a couple times, and we are met with failure. I also think the healer just let me die here. This game has given me so many emotions already, and I've only put like 10 hours into it. I love the anger and frustration of Mythic Plus coursing through my veins.